Hakone is the classic overnight trip from Tokyo. In as little as 80 minutes, you've got hot springs, traditional inns, mountain scenery, and if you're lucky with the weather, Mount Fuji. But the transport is a highlight in itself. Train, bus, boat, ropeway, cable car, all linking up into one big circuit through the mountains known as the Hakone Loop. And it's the best way to explore the area. And the good news is, there's a single pass that covers it all. The Odakyu Hakone Freepass includes your round trip from Tokyo, or just the Hakone portion if you don't need that, free use of all the transport in the loop, Odakyu affiliated transport only, plus discounts at attractions along the way. And because it's valid for either 2 or 3 days, we're using it for an overnight trip starting right here at Odakyu Shinjuku Station.
Alright, I'm about to go through the ticket gate. For this trip, I'm using the digital version of the Odakyu Hakone Freepass on my smartphone, so all I need to do is scan a QR code.
With the pass, I could just take one of the slower trains for free, but I want to treat myself, so for a bit extra, I'm upgrading to this special limited express train. The Romancecar gets you there in 80 minutes instead of 2 hours, with no transfers, and you're guaranteed a comfortable forward-facing seat. The catch is, you need to book in advance, but it's easy to do online.
That way, there's no paper ticket to pick up, and you can just go straight through. Okay, we just arrived at Hakone Yumoto Station. From here, it's just a half-hour bus ride to Moto Hakone Port. What a change from central Tokyo. I feel like I can breathe just a little bit easier. Now, in a little while, we're going to take the ferry across the lake, but first, as the Japan Guide history nerd, there's a really interesting place I want to show you.
This avenue of cedar trees is what remains of the Hakone section of the old Tokaido, the most important of just a handful of roads connecting the country before modern trains and highways changed everything. Each of these trees is about 350 to 400 years old, planted to offer just a bit of shelter to travellers on the road.
Songs were written about the beauty of the trail as it passed through Hakone, but it was also one of the toughest and most dangerous sections along the whole of the Tokaido. It's fascinating to imagine the people who must have walked in this same spot, and perhaps even stopped to enjoy the same view.
Today, Hakone is all about peace, quiet and mountain scenery, but in the time of the samurai, it was more like the perfect natural barrier on the way to Edo, what is now Tokyo. Right at its centre was the Hakone Checkpoint, a heavily fortified guard post allowing the government to control the flow of people and goods in and out of the city. Despite the big show of force, the checkpoint was ultimately less about protecting Tokyo from invasion than it was about social control. The two most important things guards would have been on the lookout for were Western-style firearms coming in, and women, the wives and relatives of feudal lords, being smuggled out.
It's easy to guess why the shogun would want to keep guns out of the city, but why keep women in? To prevent rebellions, the shogun ordered that all feudal lords had to spend every other year in Edo, while their wives and children had to live there permanently as hostages.
Just a few steps along the shore from the checkpoint is the Hakone Machi Port, a boarding point for the Hakone Sightseeing Cruise, ferrying visitors back and forth across the lake via some stunning mountain scenery.
Pirate ship might look a little bit on the eccentric side, but it's been here in some form since the 60s, so it's pretty much part of the landscape at this point. Oh look, over there you can see Hakone Shrine.
From Togendai Port, it's a 20-minute ropeway ride up the mountain slope. As we come up the mountainside, the scenery shifts suddenly to reveal bleached white rock, bubbling mud pools, and steam vents, the boiling valley of Owakudani.
One new addition I really like is the Chikyu no Tani observation space. It's got a really nice design to it, and of course, lots of photogenic views into the volcanic part of the valley. Okay, we've got the menchikatsu curry, that's with a deep-fried minced beef cutlet. Let's see how it is. That's really good.
For a bit of dessert, I'm trying the area's specialty, Hakone's famous black eggs, said to add 7 years to your life.
It does not look like something people are meant to eat, does it? And yet, in the spirit of science, let's investigate. No, it's really not what I was expecting. It's just a hint of sulfur, maybe just a little bit more chewy. It's nice. It's pretty steep.
At Sowonzan, I changed to the cable car for the next section down to Gora. Tonight I'm staying at the Hakone Yutowa, right in Gora, a modern hotel with a more relaxed approach than a traditional ryokan. Dinner is buffet style, and while a full-on multi-course meal can be wonderful, sometimes when all you want to do is relax, it's great to have exactly what you want and as much as you want. With dinner over, it was time to wind down for the evening, ready for another busy day tomorrow. After breakfast, I'm heading out for a quick walk through nearby Gora Park, Japan's first ever French garden. Built around the same time as the Hakone Tozan Railway in the early 1900s, it's a great spot for most of the year when flowers are out, but today I'm here for this traditional tea garden inside the park known as Hakuundo. Gora also has the famous open-air museum if you're looking for more to explore, but I'm jumping on a Hakone Tozan train, part of Japan's oldest and best-loved mountain railway, for a little detour down to Odawara. And the way it handles the mountain is just a bit different.
The railway engineers had to manage the gradient of the mountain slope really carefully, so instead of climbing directly, the train zigzags its way up. Every time it reaches one of 3 switchbacks, it pulls into a dead track and changes direction.
Just a few steps from Kazamatsuri Station is the Kamaboko Museum, dedicated to a popular local speciality made from fish paste.
Kamaboko begins as any of these kinds of white fish, which are then minced into a paste, steamed and shaped. It's a popular dish and produced all over Japan, but Odawara is especially known for it.
In a time when fish was an everyday staple but refrigerators didn't exist yet, it was kind of the perfect snack. One that was tasty, easy to transport, and lasted longer.
This is Naruto, which is another kind of kamaboko, and if you've ever had ramen, you've probably already tried it.
The museum has a bunch of lively exhibits digging into kamaboko, how it's made, and its many, many variations. But note that pretty much everything here is in Japanese. For most visitors though, the real highlight here is the hands-on workshop experience, in which visitors can learn to shape and steam or grill their own kamaboko from scratch in about 50 minutes. Today, we'll be making a special kind called chikoa, the difference being that it's wrapped around a stick and grilled.
Okay, that was a lot more difficult than I was expecting, but I think it's turned out all right. Yep, let's give it a try. Okay, it's very hot. That's good.
Although better known to tourists these days as the gateway to the Hakone area, Odawara was once one of the most important cities in eastern Japan. First as a stronghold of the powerful Hojo clan, then later as a bustling castle town on the old Tokaido Highway.
Odawara is very much a modern city, but you can still get a little bit of that historic atmosphere here in what used to be the old castle town. Let's try a bit of street food before we head over to the castle. Okay, this is an absolute classic Japanese street food called mitarashi dango. It's balls of rice flour coated in a sweet savory soy sauce glaze. Yum. That's really good. So this is the street food version of kamaboko. It looks really good. As a modern reconstruction, it is missing a bit of that tactile, realistic feel that the genuine article would have. But that's not to say that some parts aren't really well done, and the main gate, or Tokiwagimon, is a great example. You can also see guard towers, connecting walls, and a section of the original moat, all adding to a sense of scale and authenticity.
Within the grounds, you can find two smaller attractions: a ninja hall with some fun interactive games for younger kids, and a samurai museum with rotating exhibits. Inside the main tower, you'll find some pretty decent exhibits about the castle, its story, and how it evolved over the centuries.
Another highlight has to be this view from the top of the tower. To the east you can see the Sagami Bay, and to the southwest, Hakone, where we've just come from. I think that's just about the perfect place to finish our overnight trip. And with that, I'm saying goodbye to Hakone and taking the romance car back to Shinjuku. Thanks for watching, and if you're looking to explore Hakone on a single day trip from Tokyo, check out Raina's video.